Strength training, the most underrated and thus the most important physical activity category. If you are like most of us, you are quite likely one of the many with lowered muscle mass. Our lifestyle has become so passive and toxic that the average person has much less muscle mass and much more fat than they did 100 years ago. Our metabolism has slowed down quite a bit. If you are a yo-yo dieter, then the chances are that your muscle mass is even lower or much lower than the average. Let's squash the myth about muscle mass being something only gym-addicted steroid junkie bodybuilders should be concerned about. The fitness industry has ruined one of the most essential physiological development images. Muscle mass is vital for our health, metabolism, and well-being. You might have an average weight, but most of it could be fat mass, which would mean you still suffer from all of the problems that overweight people suffer from, and more. It is much better to be overweight and muscular than average weight with lowered muscle mass. Muscle mass is important to our health and metabolism. It burns many calories even in resting state, up to 100 calories a day for 1 kilogram of muscle mass. It uses most of the blood sugar increase after eating, thus preventing and treating insulin resistance. It helps our joints move. Good functioning muscle mass is the #1 most important factor in preventing and treating musculoskeletal pains. It helps to prevent different kinds of injuries. It increases aerobic activity's effectiveness. The more muscle mass there is to move around, the more fat energy your body needs to break down. Think about a marathon runner's body. It is adapted to use as little energy as possible, but at what cost? It improves strength, but also aerobic capacity. So I hope you see now that the people that need strength training and muscle mass the most are the ones that have the least of it, not the fitness models and bodybuilders on magazine covers, but regular people who want to improve their health and metabolism. So what does it take to improve muscle mass? The common misconception is that one just needs some resistance for that. Actually, the muscles need quite a lot of resistance. For example, many people with physical jobs think they are getting a good amount of strength training from their jobs, like orderlies, factory workers, etc. Still, they are getting aerobic exercise with a little resistance. This does nothing to improve muscle mass, although it is very useful as NEAT or aerobic exercise. For the muscle mass to grow, we have to give it a strong signal that its power isn't enough at this stage. It means we have to overexert the muscle. This itself means we have to train it to close to failure. The biggest problem seen in the gym is that exercises are going through the motions for several sets instead of pushing their muscles to near the limit. Because the muscles really get the signal to grow in the last 5 to 10% of the effort. It is vital to push oneself to that limit almost every time, not counting the warm-up and cool-down reps. More about that in the Principles of Building Muscle chapter. How should you start strength training? This depends on your current shape, limits, and experience. For most people, it is recommended to start with fundamental body weight exercises at home. One doesn't need fancy equipment to get into decent shape. If you are new to strength training altogether and don't have any equipment, start with these 3 core exercises: squats, push-ups, crunches. Do these exercises until your muscles fail, 1 to 3 sets every session, even if it's 20+ repetitions. Depending on your goal and form, you can do those sessions every day or every other day. When you feel good about your form and can continuously do 3 sets of 20+ reps of each in one session, you should add different alterations to those and take various equipment into use. It would be best to slow down the reps so the maximum repetitions you can do is 20. By this point, you should be able to do 2 to 3 sets of 5 to 6 exercises in one session. You can continue from there with different activities, home equipment, or start at the gym. The aim for this should be that at one point you will be doing 8 to 15 maximum reps for a set and go through all major muscle groups in your body in a week. By this time, you will be working to failure on most sets and be continually improving. The best indicator for this is that your strength is improving. This should always be one focus. When you find yourself going through the motions without pushing yourself, just know that you're mostly training in aerobic capacity. One other important factor in muscle mass and strength growing is correct nutrition. The nutrition chapter above covered 95% of that, and we'll cover the rest in a particular chapter later. By now, you should see that strength training is one of your best tools in dealing with slowed metabolism, burning fat, and improving overall well-being. If nothing else at all, then do the 3 bodyweight exercises every day. It takes you 2 minutes, but it will benefit you for the rest of your life.